Now, I will tell you, state to state, they'll vary what they use. But what is considered the Bible of impairments? The AMA Guides to Impairments. That's considered the Bible, okay? Now, it could vary on your state. Your state may have a law that says you need to use this, okay? So check with your state. But usually that's not the case. Usually it's up to you what you want to use. That's usually the case, okay? Now, they're out with the 6th edition now. The 6th edition is not as favorable. When I say favorable, what I mean, it's not as specific for the low impact soft tissue spinal injury. It's more vague in general. That's why I won't use it. I'll use the 5th edition because it's way more specific and relative to that particular injury. How much sense does that make? Okay? Okay, so the AMA Guides is the third-party trust Bible. Key point. All right, which guide do you typically want to use? 5th edition. What determines which one you use? Your state law. Most states with personal injury don't have personal injury laws, by the way, if you don't know this. What personal injury will typically do in your state is they'll just use the workers' compensation laws. That's kind of what happens. They just pull from workers' compensation. Okay? So, how can you find out in your state what is used or not used? Call the local bar association. Call the Trial Lawyers Association. Ask to speak to the secretary of the Trial Lawyers Association. In other words, a board member of the Trial Lawyers Association. They'll know, if not the secretary is always easier to talk to and get a hold of as compared to the president. That's why I say talk to the secretary. Okay? If he doesn't know, he'll be able, or they don't know, they'll be able to give you a source and where to find out what is needed for your state for personal injury. But just so you know, there's typically not rules generally say for personal injury. They adopt them from workers' compensation is kind of how it works. Okay. So these are key points relative to impairments. So that's what you should do to find out which guideline you should use. Now again, I only know of one state that says you're required to use this. I only know of one state. So chances are you're not in that state. That state's Oregon. It does say you're required to use this, this, and this for your impairments, okay? I don't know of any other state that says you're required. Now be aware of the language. The language may say, we recommend using the 6th edition. Does that mean you have to use the 6th edition? No. Okay, which gets to some more of these key points. So that's how you know which edition to use or which ones you can use, okay? So if it's your preference, you want to use the 5th edition because it's way more sensitive and specific relative to that injury, okay?